woman sits slumped over a newspaper at a cheap wooden table. It is 1925. The tenement is cold. The smell of stale garlic and spilled bootleg whiskey clings to the floorboards. She rests her heavy head on her arms. Her eyes close. On the iron stove, a tin coffee pot boils over. The hot water hisses against the burner. The flame sputters. It dies. But the gas keeps flowing. I know you are out there, sitting alone in the dark. The radio dial is the only thing glowing in your parlor. The static hums through the wire, and the night feels heavy. You want a story, but you do not want fiction. You want the cold, hard ink of the truth. You're listening to The Midnight Box. I'm Vesper Klein. We forget how we built this city. Before the electric wire ran through the walls, we powered the world with fire. 15 competing companies tore up the dirt of New York, laying down miles of cast iron pipe to feed the lamps. In the early days, they used coal gas. If a pipe leaked in your bedroom, you woke up with a throbbing headache. You felt sick, but you lived. Then, business got smart. The gas companies wanted something cheaper and brighter. They switched to water gas. They passed steam over incandescent coal, creating a vapor loaded with carbon monoxide. It had no smell. It burned with a sharp, brilliant flame. And it was a killer. The state had a law limiting carbon monoxide in the lines to 10%. The gas companies fought it, and the law was repealed. By 1925, the city was drowning in the stuff. The medical examiner's ledger for that single year recorded 618 accidental carbon monoxide deaths, 388 suicides, and 3 homicides. The threat was not just in the walls, it was in the kitchen. Early home ice boxes used toxic chemicals to keep things cold. Ammonia, methyl chloride, sulfur dioxide. A leaky pipe in the mechanical compressor meant you woke up choking in the dark. The death toll climbed so high that people dragged their brand new refrigerators out the back door, abandoning them to rust in the dirt of their yards. Then there were the streets. The motorcar stampede, a Model T engine. It doesn't look like much, but run it in a closed garage? In 5 minutes, that little car has turned the room into a tomb. 28 liters of poison a minute. You don't stand a chance. That is enough to make a single-car garage deadly in 5 minutes. The gas drifted out of lime kilns, coal-stoked furnaces, and the tailpipes of Dodge Brothers sedans. When the tenements blew up, people panicked. Walls turned black, and furniture splintered into kindling. The public pointed fingers at the Black Hand, an extortion syndicate that used bombs to terrorize the city. But the U.S. Bureau of Mines released a hard, quiet report. It was rarely an assassin. It was just a leaky furnace, a broken heater, or an unlighted stove burner. A careless mistake, a spark, and the whole building came down. Which brings us to a bitter night in Manhattan. It is October of 1923. A man named Harry Freindlich is desperate. He is an out-of-work painter, and he cannot pay the rent. His home is a battered tenement on the Lower East Side. The paint peels. The floors are splintered. He takes out a $1,000 life insurance policy on his 28-year-old wife, Leah. Late one night, Harry presses a pillow tight over Leah's face while she sleeps. He holds it there until she stops breathing. Then he tosses the pillow aside. He wrenches apart a soldered gas light fitting in the bedroom. The gas hisses into the dark air. Harry leaves the room and pulls the door shut sharply behind him. It looks like a tragic accident, but Harry makes a mistake. The pillow lands directly on top of his sleeping infant. The baby wakes up crying and struggling. Harry's oldest child, a 10-year-old boy, hears the noise, runs into the room, and shakes his mother. She is cold. The boy grabs the baby, runs next door, and the neighbor hurries in with a lit candle. If that room had filled with illuminating gas, the candle would have blown the apartment to pieces. Illuminating gas is a highly explosive mixture, but the gas has barely started to leak. The police think it is just another sad fatality from a broken valve, but at the Bellevue morgue, the pathologist notices Leah is sheet pale. That is the wrong color. Carbon monoxide poisoning flushes the skin a bright cherry pink. Alexander Gettler, the city's toxicologist, tests her blood. It is loaded with carbon dioxide from suffocation, but there is no carbon monoxide. The pathologist parts the hair at the back of Leah's neck and finds the black, brutal bruises of Harry's fingers. Harry breaks down into sobs when the cops lock him up. The blood caught him. Carbon monoxide is a chemical thug. It muscles oxygen out of your blood. It binds to the iron in your hemoglobin 200 times stronger than oxygen ever could. The early symptoms are quiet: drowsiness, confusion, and a dull headache. In the alcohol-soaked 1920s, doctors usually mistook the poisoning for simple drunkenness. But it goes deeper. Chronic exposure causes memory loss, a staggering loss of coordination, and profound anemia. Men working as linotypists over gas-heated lead pots or pressers in tailor shops breathed it in slowly every single day. Their blood starved. Now, let us go back to the woman at the table. It is a foggy December night in Brooklyn. The mist laps along the East River, muffling the sound of the boats. Stranded vessels in low floating clouds give an eerie unreality to the harbor. A Brooklyn patrolman named James Anderson walks his beat near India Wharf. In the early morning hours, he sees a man moving stealthily in the fog, carrying a heavy bundle. The man wears a heavy pea jacket, corduroy pants, and a cap pulled low over his forehead. Anderson shouts for him to stop. Instead, the man kicks the bundle into the black water and runs. Anderson pulls his revolver and fires 3 shots into the air. Another cop tackles the runner to the cold street. The man is Francesco Travia, a solitary longshoreman who spends his Saturday nights drinking bootleg whiskey. He is dark, short, and silent. He shakes his head, refusing to answer questions. But the cops look at his shoes. His socks are sodden with dark red blood. The police march him back to his apartment on Sackett Street. The kitchen is a slaughterhouse. A butcher's knife and a chisel sit on the table, smeared with gore. The upper half of a woman's body lies on the floor in a clotted pool of red. Her name is Anna Fredrickson. Her 16-year-old daughter Alice and her husband Frederick take the surface car to the Bellevue morgue. Frederick looks at her face on the marble table and confirms it. It looks like an open and shut case, a brutal, drunken murder. But the truth is always colder. Charles Norris, the city's chief medical examiner, steps out of his chauffeur-driven automobile at 3 in the morning. He wears a dark overcoat and a fedora. He walks into Travia's apartment and looks at the blood. It is not the dark, dull red of a fresh knife wound. It is a bright, flushing cherry red, the calling card of carbon monoxide. At the Bellevue morgue, Alexander Gettler takes blood from Anna Fredrickson's heart. He retreats to his quiet laboratory and pours the blood into a porcelain dish. He stirs in a little lye. When you add lye to normal blood, it turns a dark, gelatinous, greenish brown. But blood, thick with carbon monoxide, stays a glossy, warning light red. Anna's blood does not darken. It is saturated with the gas. She inhaled a lethal dose before Travia ever picked up his knife. The Brooklyn police laugh it off. They say Travia hacked her apart, and the illuminating gas from the apartment simply seeped into her dead, severed lungs. Gettler does not guess. He goes to work. He gathers dead cats from a city animal shelter, places them inside a metal box, pipes in illuminating gas, and seals it shut for days. Then he tests the cat's blood. The blood is dark, no carbon monoxide. But a cat is not a person. Gettler has to be certain. He orders a massive metal box built 6 feet long, 2.5 feet wide, 2 feet deep. He takes 3 unclaimed dead men from the morgue's refrigerated storage. He places them in the box, fastens the lid tight with a rubber gasket, and pumps the illuminating gas in for 42 hours. Nothing. The blood of the dead men remains exactly the same. Death creates its own bleak shield. Carbon monoxide needs breath. It needs a beating heart to pull the poison through the veins. Without breath, the gas just swirls aimlessly in the cold air. Carbon monoxide cannot be absorbed after death. Francesco Travia finally confesses to the police. He says Anna came to his room looking for a drink. They argued, and they both passed out at the kitchen table. He woke up hours later, groggy and sick in the head. He found Anna lying on the floor. She was stiff and cold to the touch. Travia assumed he must have killed her. He thought he strangled her or shook her to death in a drunken rage. He panicked. He knew he would go to the electric chair. So he took his butcher's knife and his chisel. He sawed through the bone, wrapped the lower half of her body in newspapers and an old raincoat, and carried it down to the river. He didn't kill her. The coffee pot boiled over. It put out the burner flame. The illuminating gas drifted through the apartment and suffocated Anna Fredrickson while she slept. Alexander Gettler stood in front of a Kings County jury and testified to the chemical facts. The jury acquitted Francesco Travia of murder. He went to prison for illegally dismembering a dead body, but he walked away from the electric chair. The ink of science saved his life. The city is a machine. Underneath the asphalt, it is a labyrinth of iron. When they built the subways, they dug up the dirt and left the gas mains hanging from temporary wooden scaffolds. The iron pipes rattle, the joints crack, the gas bleeds out. The Consolidated Gas Company built a massive headquarters at Irving Place. They built a tower of light to show their power. But down in the dirt, the pipes still leak. We pave over the earth, string up the wire, lay down the steel tracks, and pretend we are safe behind our locked doors. But the pipes never stop working. You sit in your parlor tonight, listening to the static on the radio. Maybe you have a mechanical icebox humming in the kitchen. Maybe there's a motorcar parked outside your window. Check the valves. Keep the window cracked. The cold air is better than the alternative. That's the ledger for 1923. Keep your windows cracked and your parlor dark. We'll take a short break here. This has been Vesper Klein, and you have been listening to The Midnight Box here on Once Upon the Dark. The station is taking the signal from here.
Take a look around your living room. It seems perfectly clean, doesn't it? But floating right in front of your eyes is a microscopic soup of airborne debris and chemical gases. Welcome to your mandatory Void Mart survival training. Today, we are going to make sure your seemingly safe home doesn't become a harrowing respiratory tragedy. But how exactly are you supposed to protect yourself from an enemy you can't even see? You need a digital translator, a piece of hardware that pulls those invisible hazards out of the air and puts them on a screen you can actually read. This brings us to the Sentinel. It is a highly portable 9-in-1 air quality detector that fits right in the palm of your hand, ready to travel from your kitchen to your bedroom. Looking at the screen, it actively tracks 9 different airborne threat levels at the same time. Now, please don't panic. I know this looks like an impossible chemistry test, a solid wall of acronyms and numbers blinking back at you, but there is no math required today. This screen is simply organizing your air into 2 basic categories, and we are going to decode both of them right now. Let's start with the bottom half of the display. Those letters that say PM stand for particulate matter. You can think of this entire section as the floating chunks. The numbers next to the PM tell you the size of those chunks. PM10 is like a giant beach ball of heavy dust, while PM0.3 is like a tiny microscopic marble of smoke. To count them, the Sentinel uses is a microscopic tripwire. It shines a tiny beam of light inside the device, and every time a dust or smoke particle floats through and breaks that beam, the number on your screen goes up. So checking these numbers tells you exactly how chunky the air in your room currently is, allowing you to easily dodge physical debris. Moving up to the top half of the screen, we have our second category, the invisible fumes. Those scary-looking acronyms HCH and TVOC are actually just the chemical name for everyday smells. Think of the sharp scent of fresh wall paint, harsh household cleaners, or even that distinct new car smell. Then we have the much heavier gases. CO2 levels rise simply from your own exhaled breath, building up in a closed bedroom. CO, meanwhile, warns you about highly dangerous carbon monoxide leaking from a faulty heater. To detect these, the Sentinel acts like a digital nose. It relies on chemical sensors shaped like tiny locks. When a specific gas molecule floats by that perfectly matches the shape of the lock, they snap together and the detector registers the fume. This gives you a precise, real-time numerical value for the hidden fumes we usually ignore at our own peril. Now, a crucial safety warning. Occasionally, you might look at your screen and see the numbers maxed at a terrifying 999. Please do not worry. As this top paragraph in the manual explains, this is merely residual gas trapped inside the detector itself. Just place the unit by an open window, wait patiently, and let it recalibrate. Also, take a close look at this warning in red at the bottom. The internal battery is only designed for temporary excursions, like a quick walk to the greenhouse to check your plants. For continuous, uninterrupted survival monitoring, you must keep the Sentinel securely tethered to a wall outlet using this charging port on the side. Understanding these simple operational quirks ensures your device will be fully awake and ready the moment ordinary coal gas decides to strike. Let's put this all together. Imagine a perfectly normal Tuesday morning in your kitchen. Suddenly, your toaster jams. As the bread burns, it pumps a massive invisible wave of microscopic chunks and chemical fumes straight into your breathing space. Your Sentinel immediately inhales the smoke. The laser tripwire counts the floating soot while the digital nose catches the fumes, causing the PM and carbon monoxide numbers on your screen to spike aggressively. You don't even have to be looking at the device. As shown by this bell icon, the Sentinel triggers a piercing sound and light alarm, so you know exactly when to panic. You quickly open a kitchen window. The fresh air clears the room. And as the Sentinel detects the drop in hazards, this air quality index color bar slides safely back down into the green zone. You handled the threat because you are no longer intimidated by this screen. You are now completely fluent in the language of your own home's air quality. Congratulations, you have successfully completed your mandatory Void Mart survival training. Remember, here at Void, we've already seen what you're looking for, even when it's floating right in front of you. With the Sentinel in hand, you can finally step into the safety of tomorrow, today. Mandatory corporate disclosure. Please be advised that Void Mart is merely a broadcast conduit and not the original fabricator of these anomalous artifacts. The physical items showcased in this transmission are sourced directly from the third-party dimensional marketplace known as Temu. We did not manufacture these items. We have not thoroughly tested these items for structural, chemical, or spiritual integrity. All product claims, specifications, and features mentioned in this broadcast are strictly regurgitated from their original unverified listings. Please remember the universal law of equivalent exchange. You get exactly what you pay for. As such, actual product quality, dimensions, and functionality may wildly vary from our enthusiastic descriptions. Void Mart, its parent entities, and this specific temporal video creator are completely, legally, and spiritually absolved of all liability for any product malfunctions, inaccurate readings, buyer's remorse, or localized timeline disruptions resulting from your purchase. Furthermore, please be warned that any interactive hyperlinks provided in your local viewing sector are officially designated as affiliate portals. Should you choose to step through and exchange your earthly currency for these items, Void Mart will automatically siphon a microscopic financial commission directly to the creator of this broadcast to fund their ongoing biological existence. This is a perfectly normal capitalist transaction and in no way tethers your soul to our corporate mainframe. We are simply sharing the listings. We are not responsible for what arrives in your mail. Proceed at your own financial risk. Void Mart. We've already seen what you're looking for.